do anything as long as I have taken. So, love, foundation, integrity, and selflessness, a spirit of service. And we said, I can just add, that is a sustainable system. A system of I take will not last long. Look at Solomon. Yes? Because of his many projects, you'd think that, he did a lot of development, but he ended up exacting a lot on his people that immediately after him, in fact, even before he left, they already revoked. That system was not sustainable, was never sustainable. But God's system, a system of benevolence, a system of sharing love, will live forever. The devils, of course, we know will disappear. So today we are going to continue on leadership because in medical missionary work, in as much as I know what to do for myself, that is selfish. I can do it for myself in my corner. Yes, but you're always being told to be able to agitate and not to be in this sense. Agitating is not causing irritation or fracas, but be able to be sounded to people to hear over and over again the benefits that it has for them, because many people are actually ignorant, and that requires leadership. Yes, as I said, I can know the information and becomes I know they don't know. Let them suffer. Yes, but for me to be able to disseminate even beyond me, people who know the principles that have helped me. And I also learned from somebody else. So that needs leadership. And today we want to go through a little history, because when you have some history, you also know from what platform you are doing what, you are moving. Yes, you know what has been done in the past, so you can be able to avoid pitfalls, but at the same time, be able to use any benefits, use things that to help others. Let's look at an example of Josiah, King Josiah, from 2 Kings 22, verse 4. A great reformer. Yes, even greater than Hezekiah, by the way. He's a very great reformer. And one of the reasons he was able to reform, he knew what to reform to. Yes, I mean, having been born almost at the end of the history of Judah, as as a kingdom, as a nation. Yes, towards the end, he didn't know what happened. I mean, he may know a few things that happened during David's time, but for him to know how to launch his development, how to launch his rule, he went back to the books. I'm just using that as an example while you're going to look at history, and yet it is leadership. Um, 2 Kings 22, verse 10 and verse 11. And Shaphan the scribe shewed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest hath delivered me a book. Yes, a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. Verse 11, and it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the book of the law that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Akbor, the son of Milkiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asahiah, a servant of the king, saying, Go ye inquire of the Lord for me, and for the people, and for all Judah concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according unto all that which is written concerning us. So anyway, of course, later on he does a lot of reforms based on this. And in fact, the Bible records that he was the best reformer, the best, because he didn't as had done before him. He went and looked at the blueprint. And so what did God want? And what God wants, if done it, that's what we are going to do. Yes. So very, very important. Looking back at history to help us know in matters health, because we know it's right arm. We know it's vital. It's important in God's eyes. So how do we push it forward? Yes. And as I said, when you look back, we're able to project forward. So let's see how we can leave a legacy. When they get put it on the projector. So basically, what I want to talk about is health leadership. Us as Adventists, we have an advantage. Yesterday, Brother Opar said, we are rich. Rich in what? Adventists. We are rich. Why? Knowledge. And knowledge is power. Not money is paper. Yes? Knowledge. Yeah, you can be gotten from here, or rather, yeah, knowledge and wisdom. You can be pulled from where you've already amassed your property and taken elsewhere and still thrive. That's it. The resource that God gives us to be able to think, to be creative, to be innovative, to make something from nothing. Of course, for us, it's not nothing completely, because we'll be using God's resources. But basically, to invent things anew, that is what we need, human resource. So anyway, so when God has given us that, remember, He loves everybody. Everybody. Yes? And even when he chose the Israelites, he was thinking of me and you. Yeah? People of the children of Ham. He was thinking of me and you. Because it was not only the Israelites to be saved, it was each and every one. And as long as I hold, yeah, his promises, then I become an heir of the blessings that he has given. So what I'm trying to say is this, God has given us a resource. It's not only for us. So the thing is, when I benefit by being here, it's a benefit to me, but He wants it to benefit everybody, even the person who doesn't know yet. So the knowledge we have should be propagated, should be disseminated, and it needs tact. It needs God's wisdom, but also needs boldness and courage, but most of all, consistency in the person, the recipient, or the holder of that information. So mainly as I look at health leadership, I want us to think of, we talked about leaving a legacy. I know it. Yes, very good. So how can I help? And remember that when you're helping somebody else also, you're helping yourself. Because a lot of time, if you think you're an island, eventually you get drawn into what the others think. So in helping to agitate that information, we are helping for you also to have continuity for a longer period of time. So the Adventist Advantage, we want to light the health pathway. Health is it's a dark maze, so to speak. I only have to use the example of COVID to show how there's a lot of confusion. Yes, a lot of people wanna papas, they don't know what to do per se, but they're doing things. Everybody is following, whether it has been proven or not, just following. Yes, like flock mentality. So just to highlight the fact that there's darkness. And so I want to look at the history of the Adventist health message. Not all of it. There's a book actually. You can download it in Age White. It's called The Story of Our Health Message. There are many other books, Loma Linda, Messages to Loma Linda. There are many, many books. But this is not by Ellen White, but it's a compilation of some of her work by someone else, and telling us how things were, yes, and the things that happened. And part of the things that I've written here are actually from that. So if you get it, you can read much more. It's about 370 something pages, not too long. So it just gives you a thrust of where people have been, where they should be, what you can do, basically that they did, what you should not do that they did and they shouldn't have done. All those will help us now. Because as long as you're still in this world, the information and light that was given is still vital for us until we go to heaven. So anyway, we are told that the health message, the first vision to Sister White was in 1863. And actually, if you read even that book, The Story of Our Health Message, even if you read the early writings, it was hard for her to take that message. In fact, one of the greatest reformers was actually Joseph Bates. Anybody has heard about Joseph Bates? He had earlier, and God just impressed him. No one told him per se. He'd look at, he was a shipper. He used to work in the ships, yeah, and they're rough people, very rough. Drink tobacco, smoking, drinking, vulgar language, just living a rough life. And then also at the time he was in the Navy, Army. Yeah, rough, very rough. But God worked in his negative environment for him to leave that negative environment. He saw this is not the way to live. God, the Holy Spirit impressed him anyway. So he lived the health message much earlier than even this vision. And he saw a benefit in his life, in his character, yeah, and even in seeing things, even after the great disappointment and all. So anyway, but the vision that came, Sister White came in 1863. And long story short, she was told, if you don't spread this one, because she was thinking it's something peripheral. In fact, if you read that story, there's a point whereby they were talking about swine. Yes, for them, swine wasn't pigs. Pigs weren't a big thing for them. They were saying that is too extreme for pigs. Yeah, not eating of pig's flesh. So God had to instill in our mind that it is important. It is very, very important. And I'm saying that to say this. That story is still present now. Maybe not about swine, but about many things. You seem to be speaking to, I don't know, a stone. Huh? You're saying this message is so, okay, at least let me say speak for me. When I knew about it, I was so excited. I was saying we will help the whole of Africa if everybody knew. But you speak to someone and it's like you're in a different world. Yes, and there's evidence of in a different world. So the fact that even Ellen White had to be told, yes, if you want more light, yes, this one has to be agitated. It's not something to say, it's just a counsel. And even if it was a counsel, yeah, if you have a parent who gives you a counsel and you say that counsel of yours is just a counsel, how will they label you? Rebel. Yes. So even if it's a council, yes, it is a council, because if you don't follow that council, whose council then are you following? So anyway, she got that, and she mentioned that the great subject of health, reform was opened before me in vision. So that SHM is that our the what did I say the book is? Story of our health message. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, he got it from the Review and Herald, because this is the person is called Robinson, but he's just putting it out. Now he just went and did research and put them down together. Now, Adventist Advantage. Yeah, it's an advantage, but if you don't use the advantage, you become more disadvantaged. Always know that. If you're in a place where there is resource, yes, if you're in a place where you can avail or you can access a lot of benefit compared to somebody else, if you don't use it, you are even less advantaged. You're more disadvantaged than that person who doesn't know. It's very important to know that. I've used this example before and I'll say it again. The school I went to in high school was a national school. Yes, renowned national school. And our principal always used to tell us, if you're in this school, A is not a question. You're supposed to get it. Yes? You are in a national school that is renowned. You are supposed to get A. So if whether you get it, if you get it, we knew you were supposed to get it, because the resources are there to make you get a what? A. That's the criteria of determining, not necessarily the real thing, but that's what she said. But if you're in an institution that is known to produce A's and you get a D, your D is worse than the D from someone else who did not get those benefits. So transfer that to us. If you are in a place in an advantage and you don't use it, the Bible uses a different term. You are beaten with more stripes. You get hurt more, because your heart now becomes reprobate. You even reject that which you actually see is helping, but you're rejecting it so much, the Holy Spirit has left you, and you put yourself into a lot of trouble. And that's why, that's not part of my topic here, but I say that's why we still have a lot of illnesses of Egyptians amongst us. So many. Yes? And I'm using God's words in Exodus 15. They are actually Egyptian diseases, people of ignorance. But people who should know or know and decide to reject, it becomes even worse. Because sometimes you do it to spite. Someone is doing something to spite somebody else, yeah, or the message, and yet they're spiting themselves. So anyway, what did she say about this message in her letter in 63? I saw it was a sacred duty. Very important. Remember, looking at history to see how we take this thing, because for you to be able to influence someone, you have to have a passion for it. Yes? You have to have, this thing needs to be sent to somebody else. So you have to have a passion for it. So it's a sacred duty. A sacred duty to attend to our health, number one, mine. Yeah? And then arouse others. So it's not enough for me to say, this message is too hot. Let me just live with my family. The rest, shauriao, yes? Agitate it. Let them see that it's important. Yes? We have a duty to speak, to come out against intemperance of every kind. Intemperance in working, in eating, in drinking, in drugging. Yes? And then point them to God's great medicine, water, for diseases, for health, for cleanliness, for luxury. Some of these points, we'll look at them later on, because the world is catching on. Yes? And that's the good thing about God's science. It's true science. If you hold on to God's science, like Daniel, the world eventually catches to your science, because it's true. It doesn't change. Not what was here yesterday is obsolete today. No, it stands the truth. So Daniel's science was God's science, and it stood the test of time, and people caught up. Nebuchadnezzar later caught up with them. So it's the same. We'll see as we go. Even with this message, it is catching on with new names, but it's the essence, what God wants everybody to learn. Remember, I told you we are advantaged, but the advantage should be helping every person, the 7 billion plus. I don't know if you're 8 now, but the people, everybody in this world. So notice water. There are other things, of course, we know. Kelly mentions water. I'll talk about this towards the end. We continue. It is not safe nor pleasing to God to violate the laws of health. It hurts him. It hurts him, especially because he knows it is hurting you. Like you have a child who there's an enemy who you know is your enemy. The child doesn't know. And the child would rather follow the enemy. Like sometimes a child would rather listen to the neighbor than what you tell them. Yes. And you know the neighbor maybe is a gangster, or you know the neighbor is a they're or is a pedophile, or is I don't know, and how do you feel? And they just anything the neighbor says they seem to want to like. Yeah. So it hurts God when we violate, because the devil instigates or pushes us to violate. And then on top of that, you violate and then do what? ask him to take care of our health. Yes? Yes? I usually say that is idolatry. You tell God, you create your God and command him to do the way you want. That's an idol, eh? So, anyway, then ask him to take care of our health and keep us from disease when we are living directly contrary to our prayers. Yes? It's very common. Very, very common. Because the longest lists anyway for prayer are usually disease. Very common. But we just live, and in fact, sometimes after you've gotten well, you hold a party, and the same laws that caused you to get sick, you do what? You break again. Yeah, I usually use the example of funerals. People like escorting others. Have died, now we escort them also. Yeah, so someone eats meat, a lot of whatever, contrary, and then that's the next funeral we go to. It's very unfortunate. The next one, I saw that it was the duty of everyone to take care of his health, take time to devote time to our health. The work God requires of us will not shut us away from caring for our health. The more perfect our health, the more perfect will be our labor. Yes? The more perfect, when you look at those principles, the easier it is. We do more work, we become more productive. Yeah, and actually that particular quote, she was talking in regards to her own husband. Her husband got a stroke. Yes? Actually, for him, they are still progressing in health, also the health message. Anyway, as I said, Joseph Faith was very on the upfront. Then they came in a little bit slower. And then he had a lot of overwork. He was stressed. I don't know, many things, but he got a stroke. And I think that was also God's way of telling them this message is important because when he got sick, they didn't have a place for their own to go and get help. They had to go and seek for help where? Elsewhere. Yeah. And I think that actually helped. I think it was also God's plan for them to propel this work to get more important amongst the people. So it's a global message. Eh? This message, as I said earlier, is not ours alone. So when you think as a leader, yes, I mean you don't have to be the world leader, but think of it beyond your boundaries. It could be your neighbor, it could be your classmate, it could be whatever sphere of influence you are in. So it's not ours alone. And I want to show that because even before Ellen White was given that message, God was speaking to so many people. And you'll know that this history is a history from the West. I haven't taken history from here. I'll talk about that in a little while. Eh? A lot of African history was oral for a long time. Yes. So don't think that it's only the Westerners who lead out. There's a lot of good we have here. I want to emphasize that a lot because a lot of times, even as um, we change our lifestyle back to what it was before, but better than what it was before, we tend to align ourselves so much with what the West has. Not that it's bad, but there are things locally that um, can be more accessible and a lot of times even more efficient. So anyway, so I'm just looking at a list of people who are not Adventists, who God was speaking to also. Yeah, this was Dr. William Lamb. This is in England. Um, and read this as far as disease is concerned. He says the thing in italics reports of the effects of a peculiar regimen in serious tumors and cancerous ulcers. So you're saying the effect of this funny thing, treatment regime in treating cancer in his time. That was a book. And this is what he said. My opinion is that no case which is curable can resist the effect of this regimen. If persevered in steadily for, his was for 3 years, eh? If you persevere, so notice those things. It needs perseverance. Someone takes something one day and send it a picker, yeah? Alafu nikaacha. Yes, one day or half a day. Or they get better and then they go back. Perseverance, yes? For him, 3 complete years. But he also mentions that at the same time, 1 year or a year and a half will commonly afford much relief. We know that for those who have tested on it, the relief can be very quick, yeah? Depending on how much effort you put and how much light, yeah? You're talking of food, we have other things like water and other things that actually also help. And the regimen was what? What was the regimen? Chopping flesh and free use of water. Yeah, that's all. It is a peculiar one, yet it shouldn't be because it is what is natural anyway. So another man called John Frank Newton, yes, the return to nature or a defense of the vegetable regimen. He's defending food, yes. And I like this one because it might you're already working this walk, eh? You might uh, assimilate him who may become a convert to this simple method of prevent not to lose temper where argument by his tenacious opponent. You might have had this experience, eh? With violence almost and to firm and consist in his own practice, in contempt of all the means which would be resorted to, whether threats or permissions, to turn him aside from his offensive purpose. Use a lot of words, but basically, you'll get out of resistance. You may get out of resistance. Yeah? And you wonder, because this person wasn't even a doctor, he was a person who was sick and applied the regimen, which Lam was a doctor, which Lam actually told people can work. And he got better. And he was wondering, I got better, and people are accusing me that I got better using a method that doesn't work, and yet it has worked. So as I said, you're wondering, why is there hate, so much angst about something that there is evidence. When you remember, even in Christ's time, when that blind man uh, got to see, people were looking at all other reasons against Christ. Then he said, "No, John 9, eh? I was blind, I see." And then he said, "To see what has happened in the past." And notice these years, 8 or 9. I'm just trying to emphasize, it's not our message, but it's for everyone. And if we don't propagate it, someone else will. When someone else does, yes, the spiritual aspects, a lot of the moved on. So God does not glory we should deserve. Are you following? When God does, it's for us to be able to bring people to Him. When God healed Hezekiah, when the Babylonians came to Him, it's for Babylonians to know God who healed Hezekiah. Yes, but when He didn't, what He was supposed to do, they all became Babylon. That particular point, when Hindus doing benefits, which God is. Are you following? They more disaster as far as the kingdom of God is concerned if we don't take it. So someone else, because He loves us all, He wants someone else can start it. Now talk about this Shelley. This one put it down. So he put it down in pose, yeah, as a poet. Yeah. So this was a poem. I hold that the depravity of the physical and moral of man originated in his unnatural habits of life. So what people think is normal is actually unnatural. Yes? And actually, if you sit down and think about it rationally, you actually realize that is the case. The proselyte to a simple and natural diet who desires health must, from the moment of conversion, attend to these rules. Never take any substance the stomach once had, like that you have to kill to be able to eat. Yeah. So anyway, just showing that this is 1813 again. God was speaking to so many people. Yeah. So that if it kwama hapa, someone else was doing. And as I said, even when James White got sick, they had to call it water cure. It wasn't Adventist that they went for help. And in fact, some of them actually applied to their own institutions were based from that. It was a place in Dunsville. Not for anyway, but I'm just trying to say it's not only for you, but you've been given more information about it. And you'll see that even as we go, as we look at what the world is doing about lifestyle medicine or medical missionary work or the right way to live and see that we are still ahead and we should not be afraid to take what the burden. And there's someone called Graham. In the West, there's something called cookies or bread. It just means wholesome. Yeah? Because many people were eating out of refined. So his main thing, and he was Presbyterian, was to make people eat more wholesome. And William Metcalf, also not an Adventist. So God, I'm just trying to say that it's a global message. Yeah? Body under the sun belongs to God. So let's look at his contribution. Again, if you read that book, you'll find this. In the vision given Mina in Rochester, again, they're not smartest, they are being told. And if you read again Ellen White's story, she says, does it a point she had to tell her stomach, talk to her stomach and say, I'm not giving you food, because thou should eat this Graham food, this wholesome food, and to get some meat. Yeah? And, yeah? Saying those healthy foods cause me more problems. She literally had to speak to her tummy a lot. So God was pushing them. This message shouldn't be under the banners, in the back banners. It should be something that should be agitated. So I was shown that our Sabbath keeping people have been negligent in acting upon the light which God has given. Unfortunately, it's the same now. Very unfortunate. Yeah. How many years later? Over 150 years. It's the same now. So I'm saying this so that don't feel and forget and say maybe this thing maybe it doesn't really work. Or don't feel despondent. It's something that it's God's work, and if it's God's work, it works. Yes. So anyway, they are being negligent in acting upon the right which God has given in regard to the health reform. That there is work before us, and that as a people we have been too back to following God's opening providence. He has chosen to lead us. While some feel deeply and act on faith, the work others remain indifferent and have scarcely taken the first step. And some even go further to do what? Castigate it. So they put in some steps to try and help that. And that book, but they focus a lot. I've written their nutrition, education, and health. What's the next one? Yeah. No, that's the typo. Next one. Sorry. Go back behind. Okay. Nutrition, education, and health. Huh? They focused a lot of the institutions. They say everybody not only uh, decide to specialize in health. No, every single person. Because the focus is if we can prevent that disease, even the institutions become, if we can teach everybody to be able to take care of their health, become like the lawyer. Yes? I don't know. Or for those who don't know yet, because everybody will be taken care. So we dam the river. So the river is stopped here, so to speak. So that's the main focus, education. So many commissionary work, the strongest work we do is actually education. Yeah, you'll see even as they started the institutions for treating people, the Jesus comes. Yeah? Nutrition, education, so but that where I was yeah, each of those testimonies, even if something small was aching and it tackles, for someone else doesn't help. That will be a mind changer for someone else. Yeah? Institutions, the person was Western Health Reformers. And the book will just show you some of the problems they went through. Actually, went there. Uh, maybe the name of the place. Let's bring in a little. If you put just a little, will give more protein. Or we put just a little this, and then the effect actually goes out. So it burnt down. It was going to burn down. It was expanding instead of spreading out many places. So it's not a monopoly. And it's in God's wisdom also. If you're any, someone doesn't like you, they hit this one, they steal that one. They hit that one, steal that one. Follow it. They close that, you're done. But every church has a center of health. So, yeah? It's a small one because it's about people about what the institution to uh, leadership, go to use evidence to be able to uh, bring, let me see, changes in the world. Are you following? And the ones who go to fight, but uh, can help everybody. Remember, I told them giving you Western history. So just to show you that it's not a work that, and it's a work we should encourage more. Every single church should have some place where someone can come and say, "This Adventist, I have a person can come and get them." Yeah. So there's Wilma YouTube and Student Valley license, and you can make money more. And this is the aspect of institutions. But remember what I said earlier: the best thing is educating everybody. Yeah, right. And show them how they can help themselves in case they get there. I mean, in case they get sick. But in the event that, as we know, that the people will be sick, then we need those institutions to help and also to be centers for evangelism. So, and I mentioned this earlier about counsel that you give, withholding of God's blessing by following a worldly policy or personal interest or a desire to be in a great and popular work will diminish God's blessing. Very important. So we need knowing what that God, and then in light of what we are doing, I was shown that more deaths are caused by drug taking than all other causes combined. Generally, the person who suffers pain, the person who suffers pain becomes impatient. They are not willing to serve, neither are they willing to wait the slow process, nature to build up and to overtax energy of the system, determined to obtain relief once and take powerful drugs to strengthen this situation. So the problem is with this is that nature does its work very well, but sometimes it does slowly. Yes, depending on what you've given anyway. Yeah, if it is heavy, he will need time to be able to clean up. But that is it. Like someone to tell them to clean the house. There's a people where you see it. So what you've allowed was doing her work well and would have triumphed, but while lacking her foreign substance or poison, not nature will produce drugs. It's never cure disease. They only change the form and location, make the sexual and how much better for her task is left to herself, helped by using those types of things. That's why we keep training. So you can learn that skill because you don't know it. Many people don't. Many people don't know. So they work against nature a lot of times and countermand. Or sometimes, as you said earlier, because they're impatient. They want something that will just mask. Yes, the that is unable, it's still there. Yeah. So those are counsels that we know about that. So I can deal with people's mindset and help them along. So let's look at what that has done. Um, God is a God of everybody. I always say that. Yeah? I'm a Christian now because God was not only a God of Israelites, a God of and this should have come earlier, but this just to show when those days when Ellen White was doing things, right? You're wondering now what would the Lord talk about this? Yeah? God, as you step out, as you're stepping out in faith, God goes and deals with the situation. So to make laws that were appropriate for them at that particular point. Like for this one in Michigan, where it was the state passed an act, special act to provide for the of cooperation, allowing leaders. back. That's where someone can say, I want to go. Or someone about to be told to go, and then let's try it. So you can stay actually put in time. There is an alternative. If you have an institution that is not that, and it's still there. Even it's not even but there's to use other things other than those ones that are prescribed. The poison. So let's see some of the things that the world has done, or it's like help spearhead. Uh, so, again, this is leadership. Let us not history based. Let's do more than that. Let's do something that the world can also come into and don't think I'm going to church. So he sets up what he called American College of Life and Medicine. That is good. Edward from Harvard now sets up, teach them or to help the work. But anyway, he sets up the Institute of Lifestyle Medicine. And then from there, that particular, those world leagues, those people of the world, have gone to, God has used them, yeah, to now push. Because the pharmaceutical industry, the medical fraternity is a very, you want to protect your staff, but they have used that to introduce lifestyle medicine. Yeah. So we find it in Australia, we find it in Europe, we find it in Asia, we find it in Latin America. Where is it not? How many continents am I in? South America, South Africa, and Linda. Found it in Australia, we find it in Asia, we find it in Europe, you find it in South America. Where is it not? Yes. Yeah, so you have work. Okay. And you don't have to be there. And remember, I said a lot of our work is not written, so that there's nothing we're doing. We're doing a lot. Okay? But what I'm trying to say for those who fear because they're in medical school or what, it's something you can use and say, God is there because many of us, unfortunately, what has been done elsewhere, so God has prepared that way already. They sell medicine, not as enforced still, yes, because if you introduce lifestyle, you kill medicine, yes. So it's being used, but for them, they'll say as a complementary, in addition, yes, but still a big step, still a big step, yeah. So a lot of work is being done. Now this is a long statement, but in 2017, yeah, what I want to point, that red part, um, you read it later on in your, but they use the aspect of the economic uh, effect of disease burden to say that you need to incorporate it. They focus on just chronic ailments, right? Chronic ailments. That chronic ailments unique lifestyle. So they have a resolution by the American Association to support policies and mechanisms that sell medicine in education. In a nutshell. Yeah, so give policy taken. Policymakers are not only medical people in the medical profession, everybody. Yes? So if you have a policy that will help, if you have information that will help, be able to tell them to put it in the medical curriculum. That gives more incentive for people like you, like us. Be able to say this should be part of our policy. This should be something we should be teaching people. And then this one is an even smaller one, the next one. But it shows that this mindset started a long time ago, 1967. Of course, it's after. I mean, for us, God gave us that information much earlier. But from as early as 1967, they were complaining about the system. The medical system is not sustainable. Yes, because we are getting more and more a lot of fiscal, monetary. Yes, it is burdensome to get sick one day here, a lot you can wipe out all your savings. Yeah. So they're looking at better methods and they actually say from 1967 that they should look more like I've been to the past. Even now, at least for West, they are allowed medicine. Theirs is narrow. Thank God even for that narrow view. For them, they're looking at just chronic ailments. By therapy, you can treat malaria, you can treat flu, you can treat COVID. They're not chronic communicable diseases, but you have other things. So for that narrow view, God has allowed it to be particular. Now the thing is, implementation may not be as effective. It's been allowed and the law, but maybe they're not implementing as well because, as I said, if lifestyle comes in, then you cut out. So anyway, let's look at how they look at lifestyle medicine from the world first. Then we look at our system, and then we see how we are still ahead. There's still a lot that we can teach. So don't think that they've taken run with it, that there's nothing else to do. Now, they have what we call six pillars of lifestyle medicine, yeah? Then they have six. As they have, okay, some people can have more. Then use innovation to even more. So six. Notice who has copied from who. But who has copied from who? Nutrition, number one. A wholesome plant-based diet. So the policy is yeah, wholesome plant-based diet. The policy is people who are making it snow and it's not being propagated down here. Don't but being food. Even during the summer, always talk about nutrition. So, plant-based diet. So God is helping you. That if you're not giving in our conferences, to let go of flesh. Let it tell you. So that you can tell someone who's a leader, maybe in a place where there's resistance, the world body. Yes? So they have nutrition, they have exercise, and then they have sleep, stress management, yeah? So what are they doing? Sleep you have, yeah? The mass sleep, yeah? Rest, yeah? So then they just look at sleep alone, but not look at rest as a whole, including the type of stress, yeah? Stress management, how would you stress management? Yeah? Trusting God, yes. So since then they don't want to talk about God, they just say get best nice ways of addressing your stress, take a run, have an outdoor activity, yeah, there are things, but it's trusting God that helps them. Risky substances, what is that? And then yes, so they're saying those ones should be removed. Then relationships, how will you put that? Really, I'm just trying this to do that. Then there's a they learn to much. Very important aspects that you can still teach. Now, one is water. They are not just water. They are water is heaven's greatest gift. And we saw that on the same actually, yeah. God's medicine, water. Yes, very, very important. And water helps so many ailments, yeah. Their focus is on chronic ailments, but it can help even in acute ailments, infection, in injuries, yes, and emergencies because of the use of water. Yes, so we still have a lot of work to do there. Um, and of course, they don't talk much about water because also the beverage industry are not taking that very hard. And then sunshine, big medicine, huge medicine, and it's free of charge. Yeah, if I say water I buy or I have to go, you just go there, get, get, even lower stress. A lot of things the sun does not tell it. Yes, reducing infection, a lot of things. Huh? Air that we talked about in the morning. We haven't talked about it. Very, very important, as Elder said earlier on. Sometimes when someone is very sick, just get them out into the fresh air. They invite that air, yeah, and they sort their issue. And the other thing is they don't want to put them there because they want to keep them. But they don't realize that trust in God and bring all these other things out. So we still have a lot to do. We are still there. We allow ourselves to do. Yeah? I just added from what I wanted to add, not but just explain and think about this one. One, I realized that it's very important to attitude, yeah? So I realized helping people to change their mindset, yeah? Change their mindset, yeah? Helping them understand. Yeah? Many attitudes, so people don't change lifestyle just because they have ingrained attitude. And helping them change that attitude. Yeah? And they have to, well, running a lot of and we are also people who are by myself. I don't want problems. You will get stressed getting yourself, Yeah, but no one can live by themselves. Yes. Now, just more about what is happening. There's something that is health. Of course, they have other agendas. You believe them. But one thing that this push is for us to let go to us and all to die. This is definitely that telling the world and God has over and over again too lightly. To make someone else do what? And I was saying earlier, we still have more to give. Yeah? So let us learn our way so that no one keeps it. So that happens also. Because many more people are coming to know about the lifestyle changes and the benefits of the world. Yeah? They have many things they put that are off. So learn the sound principles of the word of God. So when someone tells you, do it natural, eat it, and so that's mineral to say, it's not conversation, that's the way. Yeah? That is what someone comes and says, because once it's alkaline, yes, go and take bicarbonate soda and put it, yes? That's how if you don't know that it's not treated, yeah, even based on the principles of life, they do components. So big grounded, they come to us from Canada, they have a they are genuine, they have a space. God, just leave someone else, yeah? Yes, they are the God, because they're the ones that they are trying. Now, I think this is just of me, yeah? Also, after that, if you don't treat someone else, someone else does the thing, they keep it off. So God's very important. See, like people worrying about money, the other human people who are, there are people who don't believe in God. They get people to glorify God. They look at Luke 4:17. And now, um, Luke 4, but unto none of them was earlier save unto Elizabeth, and to Sarepta assisted Stephen and the woman at the David. And many lepers were in Israel in the time of Elias, the prophet. And none of them was cleansed saving who? What is the message given to the Israelites that help, and none of them received but are given who was the enemy. The huge mountain. And are given who was the enemy. But anyway, I just want to give us your food for this. That's that's the answer here now, yeah? And this is not because there's a lot of Christians for this, I can talk about it, yeah? And these are brief outline. So and four is what we call in life institute. And the focus was more education. Education. Actually, the institution that the people himself so he's wild. And he was like, this is teaching of the reaction like and he's a pastor, he's pastor branches, and he never knew about medical missionary work. And their books, I mean, you look at the books, and they have those books in their home. I know what you're talking about. So an institution has been there, but it's like it's elite, few people who know. Okay, it's time to do what? Send it out to where the people are. Where the people are. And no better place than in the institutions of higher learning. Because in a university, you evangelize so many people. Go to God, go to Tanzania, they have all come together in one place. So that's the mindset, eh? So the first one here, so Barack first, yeah? And then so that the powerful and that's able to empower others, yeah? That became a challenge. And back in the second Adventist University, 2007, Oakwood, and that's where the name of the commission is. Oakwood University, the new was done. Conventions like this one, yeah? And then Southern Adventist University. Now Open is a black university. Southern Adventist is a white university. Very good. Both of them today. But sometimes I wonder, will try to come back later. You want to think about tribalism? So anyway, then Andrews. Then there are many things happening between, but what happens right now is and I think though I great part of the reform and we are continuing. Yes, so as to choose the first one, IUMMC first. That's what. What am I trying to say? We continue. Don't stop there and say now the IUMMC now we stop and that's it. We continue to look at avenues to be able to do what? Do what? Spread this message in all that as there is during COVID, women were affected. Women is now all women, yeah? It's time for women, medical missionaries, that's one. Just help. And the main thing was because there are a lot of women to tackle those, but also those women like. Then now younger women say, we ask for what we get as we are. So they tell you that's good. What I'm trying to say is find ways, yeah, to do what today. Now my time is up. Recently I have been telling that that's what is so we have to have that we have that we have so much we have big right primary. Yes? You can have IT technology using e-learning, getting information. There is a lot that you can do. Goes up, then comes down, goes up, down. So you can go and go and go. Where the time is up. I hope that going to more simplified. But we break that. So what do you do? 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 So you have think tanks. How much what can come together and just have to like money. Able to like money. What is that? Things have that close there. So you know, later I have more ideas the way to being a leader. You have seen and now prepare them. The one has blessed because so many so think about Tanzania, Uganda, Sudan. Think our God. Why the devil said why Heavenly Father, for what we have learned, we thank you for how you've led us in the past, and we need not fear the future unless we forget how you led for your direction, for your strength, and for your blessing as we walk your path. For it in Christ's name, I pray and believe.